Welcome to our Impact Show, where we highlight change-making and social innovation programs and initiatives. What does it mean to be a change maker? People often think that being an agent of positive change requires being a superhero or having the perfect solution. At MDC, we think differently. We believe that every one of us can use their strengths, combine with their passions, and find ways to contribute to some of today's most pressing issues. This semester, we took 16 MDC student changemakers to Boulder, Colorado, and I have the honor to have a few of them on the show today. Please welcome our first set of changemakers.
Thank you for having me.
How are you today?
Good, and you?
Good. So I have a question, Michelangelo. What was the 5-day trip like?
So it was very fun, very impactful for us individually and as a group. And we had a lot of great experiences together and just in the program itself.
How did it feel, like, coming into this trip? Were you nervous?
I was very nervous.
You were nervous? Why were you a little nervous?
Well, because first I didn't know anyone before coming to the trip, and then being there, knowing that we were there for a purpose, and that we didn't want to fail, in the program. Yeah.
Gabby, what was the most interesting part of the trip?
I definitely think one of the biggest lessons I learned was the importance of collaboration. So being around so many like-minded students who really had similar goals was important. The most important part was definitely the debriefing that we had at the end of each day, having role models like Sandra who are so positive in a way that's not ignoring the present. So instead of just always moving forward, it's like, what do we want to do better tomorrow? Or what did we not like? What did we do like? And I think that was really important and definitely the most important part of our trip.
What are your majors?
So I'm supervision management in my bachelor's.
In your bachelor's?
Bioengineering.
And so having this experience, you guys are towards your end of, if not graduating, how did it feel like this being your last trip of kind of your semester after the pandemic?
Well, I think it was very eye-opening to the things that I have to better myself in and the potentials that I have. So I think it's really good going into trying to get my master's degree soon. So it was an eye-opener. Yeah,
I definitely think it was very much needed at the time. We were all stressed out. Finals were like right around the corner. So it was great to be in a space that was so peaceful and so creative at the same time.
So you're on the trip. Tell me a little bit about what you did almost each day of the trip.
Okay, so we had a few moments to work on what the program. We had to do a pitch basically on the Saturday, and we had to work on groups on developing this pitch on what we wanted to change in the world, something that was a problem or that was very dear to us. So we worked on that, and then we had moments to go and have fun and experience around.
What was your pitch?
Helping heal your lion. We were focusing on addiction and the importance of healing the elderly. So I have a really great group, but I just had a really great time because we really focused on such a specific group, and I think that was important because a lot of times we look at big picture things, but I think that my group really honed in on focusing on something that was extremely important and overlooked many times in the medical community.
So you come in the first day, pretty much after you landed, and they tell you you're gonna give a pitch. You have to come up with a social impact issue, and they broke it down day by day. What how do you build up to this pitch? How did you guys decide what was going to be your pitch?
So that was pretty fun. We had some workshops, and with the group, we would go through many problems, the sustainable goals, and choose which one we thought stood out the most to us and we could relate to more. And from there, we chose it, and we said, okay, we're going to go with this one. And we went to 4 different spots to see if we would change that object that we wanted to change.
And for you, how did your group decide?
My group was great. On the first station, we chose addiction. We decided between, it was a bunch of stuff, but it was focusing on healing and the medical aspect of the sustainable goals. And once we chose addiction, we did not change it the entire station. And after the second, third, fourth station, we were literally just talking about our common interests and what we knew about the said topic. So I think that it was great that we were really specific and determined to tackle addiction.
So what was each station? What did you do in those different stations?
So each station had different goals that we wanted to achieve, different problems that we wanted to fix. So we would choose one from the first station, and then from there we work, which one is the one we like from there, and then we'll go to the next station and see if our views would change. Oh, maybe this problem is more relatable or more something that we want to fix, and we just went around like that.
Now, I got the pleasure of going on this trip, and so I got to see the changes from day one to the last day when we got back, when we were getting on the plane. Did you see the change in yourselves from the beginning to the end, and what did you see?
So, going in, I was very nervous. I was frightened that I was gonna fail and not meet the expectations and stuff like that. But throughout the trip, I grew individually, and professionally with the group. I learned how to, speak up more and do the things that I thought I couldn't do. So I think it was very positive, and I grew from that.
What about you?
I was definitely able to hone my leadership goals, and I think a lot of us struggle with collaboration sometimes, just because everyone wants their ideas to be heard. But I've learned to be more patient with others and really try to make sure that everyone's included, because I think that's the most important part of change making for sure.
So part of this trip, you also had to do some hiking. How did that feel, hiking in the mountains in Boulder, Colorado?
So that was fun. We were waiting for that, because we had to do the pitch, and that was nerve-wracking. And then we just couldn't wait to go on this hike trip. It was fun. It was beautiful. It was different.
So you spend these days with these people that you've never met before from all different campuses. As we kind of finish this segment off, how did it feel to have a brand new bond?
It was good. It was incredible. I met someone that is from my campus that I didn't even know, and now we're just best buddies. So.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I think we meshed really, really well together, and we were just looking forward to having fun. So I think that it was great that we all had, common goals.
And I just want to thank you all for allowing me first to go on this trip and for you to share your stories today. And thank you so much again for coming in. And we will see you next segment with more students.
Miami-Dade College has career paths in anything you want to be. What's your story? Be global. Be cutting edge. Be inventive. Be investigative. Be a hero. What do you want to be? Be the best. Be you. Be MDC.
Welcome back. So today we have a group of students who visited Boulder, Colorado and had this beautiful experience, and we're here to learn a little bit more with a new set of 3 students who are going to come in and tell us a little bit about their experience. So tell me, Emily, how was the trip for you?
It was a lot of fun. It was a beautiful experience because we were in Boulder, Colorado, which I'd never been to before. And meeting everyone, I only knew a few people going into the trip, but I got to make great experiences with everyone else.
So at this trip, you got to meet social innovators and social entrepreneurs. Tell us, what was it like to meet them, and how did that work?
I think it was an inspiring experience. I have never met people like that. So that made me change the way in which I thought about different problems and the way in which I arrived to the solutions, and how to see the different problems in society and find like a solution for it that would help the community, not just in a monetary way, but also help them improve. I think it was a great experience, and it also helped me see my major in a different point of view, because I'm a mechanical engineer. So I have to create new things. So this helped me shape the way in which I create stuff to make it more sustainable, so I can help the community at the same time for social innovation.
So during these 5 days, you had to collaborate a lot. How do you feel your skills in collaboration have sharpened since then?
Well, going in, I wasn't very people person, not so much as now, but I could now step into someone else's shoes, see their views. That's good.
And so, did you feel a little shy? Is that what it was coming in?
You could say that.
You can say that, right? Just a little shy. And so, you're here collaborating with this. Talk a little bit about the different forms of collaboration that you had to do during these last 5 days.
Well, the groups were the main kind of collaboration we had. You know, being a part of this little segment is nice as well. But during the trip, we had to be in partners. Even during lunch, we had to sit with people we didn't know and talk. So that was different.
How do you think you talked a little bit about your major kind of being impacted now that you had this experience. Did you guys feel the same way? Like you could make your connections with what you were studying?
Yes.
How?
Yeah, kind of. I'm majoring in biology, and I want to go into genetics. So during this trip, I found like different ways that I could use genetics, not just in the research field, but also how it can impact society, not just scientifically, but how you can find your ancestors, stuff like that has helped a lot, yeah.
What's your major?
My major is teaching elementary.
Okay.
So my whole field is collaboration.
Right.
Yeah.
And so in this trip, there is we talked a little bit about the social entrepreneurs. How did it feel meeting them and some of the impact that they're trying to make in their communities?
I think it was inspiring. Most of all, that's the one word that would come to my mind when I think about it. Because they see the communities and they see the damage that has been done or the problems that they have. And they find a solution, but they also inspire others while they do it to make a change, a positive change in that. And I think that has been in the mind of all of us that went to the trip. And it has helped us see like new problems in our community and thought about like different solutions that we could put to it. And I think it will inspire us in the future to be more change makers.
And so you had these projects, and they all ended with this pitch you had to make, right, on your project to actual social entrepreneurs and social innovators that are actually, doing this kind of work. What did it feel like to stand there the day of your presentation and present and have to present like in 5 minutes?
It was very time consuming in a way. Because we had to put all this information in such a short time, and there's so much good stuff you can't just, but we made
a lot
it happen.
Of research that you had to do, a lot of how do you convince people. What were some other things that you kind of got from your whole pitch process?
I think it was very scary, but also very exciting. Because they taught us how you get a problem and then how to identify the different solutions, but then how to present it to people in a way in which they understand and feel inspired by it. I think that's the main gist of what I got back from it, right? How to properly present others your solutions. And I think that's really important and something that should be taught more often.
What was your trip highlight? And I'm going to ask all of you the same question. What's your trip highlight?
Probably doing the pitch, because we worked so hard on it for that specific day. And as soon as we were done, I felt such a relief. I was so happy. And just to hear everyone's feedback was just so wonderful, because I was very nervous. They were not going to like it. But not only did they like it, but they gave us realistic feedback, which was, I think, the highlight.
What was your highlight?
I think my highlight was collaborating with my team, finding the problem itself that we wanted to focus on, which was education, Miami-Dade County, and finding a solution while talking to each other, being we can solve it doing different programs, but will this work? So the problem-solving aspect of it and the process, I think it was the best experience for me.
I would say Red Rocks.
So you climbed up the mountain. How was climbing up the mountain?
Challenging.
Why was it so challenging?
Because I'm not used to that altitude.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think that was a 1.4 mile. So I want to give yourselves a round of applause because you and I, we all know we climbed those 1.4 up the mountain, and as beautiful as it is, it was a challenge. But what did it feel like getting to the end and the top of the mountain, and someone told you you're done?
Relieving.
You're relieving. And what did you learn in that process? Because that also had its own process of learning. What did you learn from it?
Nature is beautiful.
Nature's beautiful, okay. And so, in talking about these last 5 days, for students who in the future will do this program, what would be a message that you'd want to give them?
Bring socks.
Bring socks? Why bring socks?
Your feet can get cold.
Your feet can get cold, okay. What about you guys?
Just go into it with an open mind.
What was something, Emily, that you wished you would have learned?
Oh, I think I just learned so much. I don't know. I think I learned everything I needed to learn and more. And for that, I think I'm really grateful. Yeah.
So I want to thank you guys for coming on the show today and sharing your experiences with us. And we wish you the best of luck. We'll be back for our third segment just in a few minutes.
Miami-Dade College has career paths in anything you want to be. What's your story? Be global. Be cutting edge. Be inventive. Be investigative. Be a hero. What do you want to be? Be the best. Be you. Be MDC.
Welcome back. And so we're with our last group of change makers who went to Boulder, Colorado. And part of these 5 days was to attend a social impact boot camp. And so it gave students the opportunity to meet other change makers and be able to give a pitch to actual social entrepreneurs and social innovators. And so we have in our last segment 2 of our people that went to the trip. Welcome.
Thank you.
At the beginning of your trip, I know you were asked what a change maker is and if you're a change maker. Has your thought process changed since then?
Absolutely. When we first went into the trip, we all got asked if we were change makers. And automatically my response was yes, absolutely. But after going into the trip, I would think that in reality, I was thinking I want to become a change maker. But there was that insecurity of not knowing if really I was one. But then going into the trip, and more with them equipping us with so many tools, I can now come back and be like, you know what? Yes, I am a change maker because we are all change makers.
So she says that we're all change makers. Do you think that we're all change makers?
I think that we are. I really think that at the end of the day, people recognize issues, especially with so much social media and news outlets, and they see that those issues and they really want to make change. So I think in order to make that change, it really takes teamwork and different skills from different people, for sure.
So this trip, 5 days, probably your first trip, right? Because of the pandemic. How did you feel from the beginning of the trip towards the end of the trip? How did you see the change within yourself?
That's an amazing question. I would say that definitely we were hoping to, from the beginning, we were hoping to go there and get skills and get knowledge. But the transformation that we got was more like personal transformation, how to collaborate with other people. So definitely from the beginning, from being in the plane early and trying to tackle the issues from getting the luggage to then going and trying to solve other bigger issues during our pitch, it came full circle.
So you have this change-making experience. How do you feel that this has impacted any future opportunities or how you see yourself as a change maker?
Well, I think it definitely has. I know this was stated earlier, but my group, we worked on addiction, and that was actually some of the research that I was already doing previous to the trip. Mm-hmm. So it kind of enhanced my passion for that issue already, especially since I also work with the elderly population. So it just kind of tied all aspects of my life together. And so I really found out what I wanted to do, because going into MDC, I didn't really know. I knew I wanted to do medicine, and now I'm a bio major, but now I know that I want to go into neuroscience and actually explore that realm further. So,
and so in your pitch, right, you have now this what sounds like a life-changing kind of epiphany, maybe this is the direction I wanted to go? Why addiction, so to speak?
Well, I chose addiction mainly because I kind of held a stigma to the population. Usually seeing the homeless on the side of the road, you would have thought that addiction was a result of their own actions. But as I did more research on it, and I'm not sure, I can't remember how I came up with the idea to study addiction and research addiction. But once I started getting into it, I learned that it was more of a disease, and I really learned how it affected the mind, and that just fascinated me since I was already in love with science and everything.
So you both are from different campuses. You reached on this trip. How did it feel meeting other people from all across the 7 campuses here at Miami-Dade College?
It was honestly very enlightening because as much as we're all coming here to learn at Boulder, at the Watson Institute, going to Red Rocks and learning from other people, I can honestly say that I learned most from my peers and from our other cohorts, and because we really had to learn how to collaborate. Even in our pitch, even when we all perhaps had chosen a specific idea, it was self-evaluation of, oh wow, I'm not that great at listening, or wow, we can get better at doing this. And kind of also, how do you manage and work together when you don't always agree? Mm-hmm. So it was great to be with your friends, because many of us had great friends, but you went in there, you met different people, and you had to collaborate with that.
What would you tell students who want to get involved in change making while they're attending Miami-Dade?
Oh, I personally love this question because even myself, before I found out about the trip, I didn't see it in my email. So I was frantically searching once one of my friends told me about it because I knew it would be a great opportunity, not just because we were inside for most of our academic journey at MDC, but also because I knew that I would be able to meet people with different mindsets, but also at the same time, because we were all driven to make some kind of change and really be a global citizen in our future. So I'd say go for it. I say, really strive for that, those opportunities that are out there, because they're there. You just have to reach out and grab them.
Are you both part of student organizations?
Yes.
Which ones are they?
Funny that you mentioned we're actually both presidents of Model United Nations at different campuses.
Oh, okay.
So we had actually collaborated before, but we had never met in person. It was always through online setting, which was a very interesting experience to now go on a different trip together and actually get, for Model United Nations, we do tackle the Sustainable Development Goals. Mm-hmm. That is the chapter of our organization. So getting to go out there and actually put everything that we've been learning for a year into works, and Angie and I would look at each other like, oh my God, these are the general assemblies that we argued about for 9 months. So it was really rewarding.
Yeah. How did this learning experience make a difference in your lives?
Oh, it personally, academically, it made a huge difference because it helped me figure out where I wanted to go. But I personally grew more confident of my speaking skills. I used to be very, very shy and reserved, but I was willing to take those chances to get out of my comfort zone and take that risk. So I'd say I became way more confident and more comfortable with meeting new people since we met so many people along the way.
Did you see a change?
Absolutely. I would actually say that it brought a spark. It brought a spark because us as students, and we are all engaged in different organizations on campus and we're young activists, but we get used to the day-to-day routine, and going on this trip was really it sparked the spark of what really matters, and it inspired me to go higher.
If you can define change making after this trip, how would you define it?
Oh, okay. So I think my initial response to this question was really a person who is willing to take those risks and go beyond the obstacles to solve an issue that they see. But I think this trip really overall just taught me collaboration was the key to change making effectively. Being a part of that community and finding others who are willing to also make a change in that issue is really important. So I think that's what change making is all about.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, viewers. See you next time in our Impact Show. Really appreciate your time here. Keep changing and keep being a change maker.